we love our sprint car family, and we love the families that are our sprint car family. All right, follow along here. We have families that we get to know. We get to know all the folks. We get to hang out with them. We get to chat with them. And then when we see generations and kids and people doing things, it gets really, really neat. And that's what we're going to talk about here, because one of our favorite people to talk to is Donnie Kreitz.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, when he says hello, when I welcome him to Wing Nation, he says hello, I just smile.
Yeah.
Because he's an inspiring, wonderful, great human being. Period. You can list all of the accomplishments, you can list everything else, but he's just a wonderful human being.
Person, yep.
Yes, he's just a wonderful person. I'll never forget the first time I went up to Williams Grove. I walked in and introduced himself to me. I think I was with Kendra, and he said, "Yeah, we listen to MRN the Shop. It's so cool." And I'm just like, wait a minute, Don Kreitz listens. Don Kreitz Jr.'s listened to me on the radio before. I'm making it, baby. But that's how the first conversation to our last visit are just all really, really neat. So when we see the family doing what the family does, and we know that their extended racing family involves Lance and Davey, and what they do, all working under the umbrella of Calvin Knapp, all working, it's Calvin Knapp and then
Racing.
Calvin Knapp Racing, exactly. Yeah. We see this, but then when we see his daughter Cassidy starting to race, and then going out and getting wins, our family, that does my heart good.
Absolutely, it really does.
It just really
and
neat.
For me, it's neat to see another woman.
And yes, exactly. There's that asset.
Yes.
There's a picture somewhere out there of a proud dad, a proud mom, and a daughter in Victory Lane at Bedford, and that picture speaks volumes, and that's a picture that the
And there's tweets out there from Lance Deweese that say, congrats.
When Lance is tweeting you congratulations, that's pretty good stuff. That really is. She's Erin Evernham. I'm Steve Post. This is Wing Nation, presented by Dryden and DRF Racing Oils. And yes, Kassidy Kreitz, easy for me to say, Kassidy Kreitz is who we're going to talk to here today on the program. Before we get to that, though, let's take a look back. It was Lucas Oil Speedway Saturday night. Cale Thomas with the lead. Christopher Bell stalking him down in hot pursuit. Here's Blake Anderson with the call on Flow Racing.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
Christopher Bell starting to close that gap up. Last time it was 0.55 more. Now Bell down to the inside. Christopher Bell slider. You've got a new leader in turn 2.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the world of outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
For decades, Dryden Lubricants has been made in America and made to last, paving the way on our highways, in our fields, and on the production line. Today, Dryden offers a complete line of engine oils, greases, hydraulic and transmission fluids, and diesel exhaust fluid. If you want greater performance and protection for your critical engines and equipment, go to Dryden.com. Dryden, American-owned and operated, and a proud supporter of racing and race fans everywhere. Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTires.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTires.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Wing Nation, presented by Dryden, by DRF Racing Oils, continues on. Let's go to the Sage Fruit Hotline, fresh off from a trip to Victory Lane at Bedford with the Laurel Highlands Sprint Car Series. Kassidy Kreitz joins us. Hello, Kassidy. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
See, I say welcome back to Wing Nation because you had an assist role a couple of years ago when we went to Zoom calls, okay? We first remember that? When we first did Zoom calls when the pandemic hit and we're trying to figure out, and you were the assist because you were the technical director for your dad getting him on a Zoom call. So that's why I said welcome back.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. He's not too good with the unmute button yet.
I know. And Kassidy to the rescue. Now, Sunday night, Bedford Speedway, going to Victory Lane. If I'm not mistaken, is that your first 305 win? And tell us about that race.
Yeah, yes, it is. So we actually weren't really sure where we were going to go. The 305s were kind of split up this weekend on Sunday, which is pretty unusual. And Bedford's about the same distance as Bloomsburg, which is where the other guys were racing to. And was just at Bedford before, so thought hopefully might not have to make as many changes or anything like that, and we'd have a little bit of an idea, especially coming off a long weekend with Lance, just to kind of make our life easier.
So what was Victory Lane like with your dad, your mom? I saw Calvin in some pictures. What was it like to get your first win and roll into Victory Lane?
Yeah, it was great to have almost everyone there. Lance was on vacation with his family, but normally he's at all my shows. But to have Dad and Calvin and Mom there was great. I don't think I've ever seen Calvin that excited before, which is pretty shocking. I feel like he gets excited pretty easily. But just to have everyone there, especially, I feel like the track, it was super smooth and slick and stuff, but you had to run the top, and that's not really my thing. And to run the top the whole race, basically, that was pretty cool.
Well, imagine that. A Kreitz would prefer not to run the top. Imagine, now there's a shocker.
A 69K.
Yeah, 69K on top of the racetrack. That's something we don't. I hope someone got pictures of it. Because we don't. I want to actually delve into this a little bit further with Calvin and Calvin Knapp. For those, if you're not familiar with Calvin Knapp, then I'm going to question your sprint car passion for it. Calvin is crew member extraordinaire for the number 69K car. Some claim he is the entire leader of the whole operation. Some claim he stays out of the way, and he's somewhere in between. I'm fairly confident. One of the greatest guys on the planet, mega fan of the sport, goes to the races when the 69K car doesn't go to the races, and buyer of a helmet for you. So him and Jenna, they bought you a helmet the week before this race?
Yeah, so back over the winter basically talked about, Calvin, he's really big into helmet paint jobs and everything like that. And don't let him come into this, but it was 100% Janice. Had nothing to do with him. Guarantee you it's coming out of Janice's bank account. As much as he says it isn't. Yeah, kind of put together this helmet idea, and the one guy in here sent him a few different pictures of things that I like and, colors and stuff, and then kind of came up with, I Googled picture, I think it was from Winners, of just sprint car gears to put on, that Calvin's essentially main job on the car. He changes gears, puts some tires on, puts the bleeders in, and that's the end of his responsibilities. But just incorporate that. But turned out really great. The guy airbrushed it all in, and it's just like gears all over the entire helmet.
The helmet is beautiful. Obviously, it brought you some good luck. You mentioned before that Lance is usually at most of your races. Obviously, your dad being Don Kreitz Jr., you're getting wonderful advice. But what is it like to have your father and Lance DeWeese being helpers, and how neat is it to be able to bounce ideas and questions off of them?
Yeah, it's definitely extremely beneficial. I feel like Lance is definitely more into the driver's side of helping me. Dad kind of stays back in that part, and Lance will definitely jump in and tell me, if I'm not running the corner right, if I run in harder, if I spun my tires, whatever. I feel like Dad definitely stays back there just because he doesn't want to be the bad guy or anything like that. But he'll definitely jump in too if I make the same mistake more than once and he doesn't think I know it. But Dad really helps me with more so the car side, whether it's picking tires or, going over the car off the track and setting it up that way. I feel like that's more so where Dad's main involvement is there.
Cassidy, I want to go back a little bit. I cannot imagine what growing up was like with a Hall of Fame father, a Hall of Fame race car, an iconic business with Kreitz Oval Parts, with all of that. Was there a point where you started to realize that my dad is maybe a little different than most of the other dads in school? And when I say different, I mean better. I mean, and I don't mean to say dads are bad, but my dad is just
darn
really,
cool.
really darn. Yeah, my dad is darn cool. I like that. Was there a point when you realized that your dad was darn cool?
Yes and no. I feel like, he still stopped racing when I was pretty young, like 15. So I feel like if he would still be racing now when I'm this age, it would definitely be really different. For me, more so, the actual real shocker was realizing that Davey is not just an ordinary person. Just because he was helping Dad full time before I was born, so I never have known a life without Davey being around. So growing up with him, and then whether you see stuff on Twitter or different people come up and realizing, he's not just an ordinary person is a big life shock.
When you say that, what is Davey like away from the track? And what was did he have like obviously he sounds like he was a family member to you. What was it like growing up with Davey away from the track? And like you said, not knowing that he was darn cool as well.
Yeah, I mean, Davey is probably the most laid back, quiet person you'll ever meet. That being said, you can get him to do anything for you if you buy him some fries. Like, he'll jump in, steal your food, and everything like that. So that's what really Davey is to me. He's the person who, if I set my fries down, he goes and eats them all at the track. But as far as my racing involvement, he's been very instrumental there. For example, on Sunday, the air was as bad as it ever was. Dad, was going through his notes, and I've never seen air that bad before. So, Davey is great just because even when he's not at the track, especially when I'm racing, he's just a phone call away to ask any questions. But also during the week, we got him set up with a little iPad on Lance's phone plan now, so he can go back and watch any race and, come up with different ideas as far as setting the car up and everything like that.
Oh my God. So what's going to happen now is that when that 69K 410 car rolls into the track, every team in the pits is going to buy fries to get Davey. Davey's got to have 40 orders of fries sitting there from people wanting to help him. I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, do you aspire to be a race car driver? Is that what you want to do?
I mean, yes, but also I feel like I'm pretty realistic about, as far as having a day job and everything like that. I graduated college last year and work at a marketing agency now, but, racing has always probably been my number one priority, even when it shouldn't have been, I would say, with school and stuff like that. But yeah, that's definitely always what I wanted to do, even from when I was little. I wanted to race go-karts, quarter midgets, whatever, different stuff like that. And I feel like for me, the biggest challenge was even getting to the point of, racing at all, just, with our schedules. And then I feel like there was probably a little bit of hold up since I'm a girl and stuff like that. But then, definitely the highlight of our week. And I think that really good for our family. And, I don't know many other families that really can say they spend as much time together as we do.
I will say that you're right. Racing is a family sport, and I look back even to my childhood, it was some of my best memories with my dad because we spent so much time at the racetrack. Cassidy, when you're at the races when Lance is driving, what is your role? Do you have any specific role? Do you just are you a sponge and try to take everything in? What do you do when the 69K is there for Lance?
Yeah, so at the racetrack, I feel like my role is really different compared to in the shop. In the shop, I'm a lot more involved as far as, tires, working on the car, maintenance, stuff like that. at the track, I feel like I'm definitely more of a sponge type of thing. Especially during time trials, just watching where all the other guys are running in case the track changes and I have to let any of them guys know on our team at all, which I think is pretty beneficial for us. We have pretty many people that I have the opportunity to do that, watch every single car time trial at the Grove at, last week or, in a heat race or whatever, and then be able to relay that information.
It absolutely boggles my mind that you're doing that. And that's what boggles my mind is the number of I's that are dotted and T's that are crossed by your dad's team. I mean, from Lance, who crosses every T and dots every I, to your dad, who does that, to Davey, who does that plus more and everything, and even having you just watch the track conditions during time trials and qualifying, I absolutely amazing. It's got to be just really fascinating to be part of the dream team.
Yeah, it is, and my involvement in that is definitely minimal compared to Dad's and Davies and Lance's and even, the other guys on the crew. But it's still, I feel like that particular part, being very detail oriented and going over everything has definitely been something that my dad taught me as soon as I started racing, if not before. And he is very, on point. He does not miss a single detail. Everything gets gone over. Every race that you can find now, especially between Flow and Dirt Vision or whichever other station is on, is watched multiple times just to see anything.
Well, and I think when you just were talking about how you watch the track, watch every car time trial, watch the heat races, and report back what's changing on the track, I think it speaks volumes for you that Lance and that Davey and your dad all know that they can trust what you're looking at, what feedback you're giving. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and it's definitely still, a team effort, but just, when they're down on, underneath the trailer and working on the car, being able to see if someone went quicker than they should have, I feel like it's pretty important for time trials and definitely a good tool that we can utilize.
You mentioned that you may have had a little delayed start because you were a female wanting to get in the sport. I co-host a show with maybe the greatest female sprint car driver in the history of sprint car racing. Okay. Wow. I mean, no, well, who's better than you?
I don't know.
Who's done?
I just appreciate it.
Seriously. No, stop. You're interrupting Mike. No, I mean, seriously. No, Cassidy, what was the delay there? Was it you? Was it just making sure that you wanted to do this? And how difficult was the challenge to do that?
Yeah, I feel like it was probably a lot of things, definitely from the money factor to Dad was still racing to, he was pretty much at the racetrack, I feel like, from, with his dad his entire life. So the normal childhood aspect that he wanted me to have, but then also, just being a girl and it being a cutthroat thing and being super tough. But I feel like, once we started racing, it really kicked off from there, just because we were so involved in it too.
Oh.
It is cutthroat business. You're right about that.
It is. And I can attest that it's not easy being a female sprint car driver. A female driver across the board in motorsports for sure, but sprint cars are pretty rough and tough. And there's some people out there that can be nasty about it. So it's awesome that you have continued to overcome that. Yeah.
And from the time I first started racing, I've never really felt like that there's been any sort of anything held against me or anything like that. I think it was just, especially for my dad being at a high level in Central PA, just some hesitation there, being scared in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I get that as a dad, totally. Yeah. I wouldn't wish the cutthroat nature. I mean,
I look at it differently now being a mom too.
So exactly.
As a girl coming up, and I thank my mom, and dad, they just totally believed in me and let me go for it. But now being a mom, and at this point, Kate is only interested in horses. But when we took her out to Millbridge, I'm thinking, I don't know if I want her to have to go through the trials and tribulations I did. I mean, granted, I'd support it 100% if she did, but I can see that from your parents' perspective.
Cassidy, one of the things that I have such respect for the 69K 410 car is when it goes to the track, it is hardcore, serious business. We love everybody on that team, and there's nobody we like to talk to any more than everybody on that team. But we also understand when those pit gates open, they are focused, they are into it. And second place, Lance drove from 17th to 2nd on Friday night at Williams Grove, and we all understand that that was spectacular. Lance understood that it was second place. We understand that. I lay all of that out, how intense Lance, your dad, Davey, how important it is. It's their careers, it's their jobs, it's their lives. What's the atmosphere like for Cassidy's races? Is it dialed down on the intensity a little bit?
100%. It's definitely, way less pressure, way less intense. There's a lot less people there, just say, on our team. So there's a lot less going on. But it works out great that way, I feel like. It's definitely a great family atmosphere, but then it's also we still take it 100% serious, going to the track prepared and, not making it a social event at the track and you're there to win or you're there to race, whatever the cause is. But it's definitely really nice to get away from, the absolute cutthroat Friday night show, just say at the Grove or, at Port when Lance is racing, to something that's way more relaxed, and it definitely brings out the fun aspect of it more, but also still being serious at the same time.
Yeah, I could see that. It has to be a little bit, like you said, less pressure, a little bit more fun for everyone, and I feel bad for your competitors. Seeing your crew guys and having your dad and Lance there, I would be a little bit nervous. Cassidy, I know you kind of work your schedule around what Lance is doing. How many more races do you have for the season? Is there a lot? Are they sprinkled throughout? What does the rest of your year look like?
Yeah, so I'm off this week, and I'll be back next weekend after the Dream race this week for Lance. But I'd say I probably have, it changes just depending on his schedule, somewhere between 5 and 10 shows left until the end of October.
Nice. Good stuff. That is for sure. Well, Cassidy, it has been an absolute blast chatting with you. It really has been. Like I've said multiple times here, we love everybody on the Dream Team, and now we've got another favorite that we enjoy talking to. Congratulations on the success of Bedford, picking up the win there, and the success across the board, and continued success. But thanks for joining us here on Wing Nation.
Thank you for having me on.
There we go. Kassidy Kreitz. How about that? So you're running 305s at Bedford, and you and your buddies all come together and put a car together, and you decide to go 305 racing, and in rolls right next to you, of course. You're sitting there, and you're worried about who's got the cooler stock, and do we have enough tires, and do we have this, and do we have that? And the next 305 over has Don Kreitz with a phone to Davy Brown, Lance Deweese, Calvin Knapp. I mean,
what a neat story. Really.
It really is. It's fantastic. And Cassidy's just, I followed her a little bit on social media. Just once in a while, she'll pop into the scene, if you will. Didn't realize that she's quite involved as much at the shop, and then that on the top of the truck during qualifying.
And then I've seen tweets between, Calvin and Lance even tweeting about, like, I kind of got the sense that they're all pretty tight and they help each other out. But, just to hear her talk about, it's like everything we thought the Dream Team was, and then we're getting her perspective. Like, and it's what we thought. It's tight knit, it's cutthroat when they're at the track, but they're just all good people.
And Davey likes fries. Davey likes fries.
It kind of reminded me when she said that about my whole Carl Kinzer story, where he likes strawberry ice cream. There's something to be said about these Hall of Fame crew chiefs.
Yeah, bribe them when find their sweet spot with food. You were not welcome there. You were not really appreciated, and then you brought strawberry shortcake to the table, and you become Carl's friend Erin.
Homemade strawberry ice cream.
Or almost homemade strawberry ice cream.
Yeah. It's very specific.
Did someone told you that, right?
Mark did, I think.
Mark said that. Mark
told
said,
me, this is the way to his heart. He kind of likes you. He's really not sure about you in the sprint car still, but deliver this and it'll change everything. And it did.
Fantastic stuff for sure. Kassidy Kreitz joining us here on Wing Nation. Over the years, Dryden has stood for uncompromised value and proven performance. Known as the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication, Dryden's heritage is made in America and made to last. Dryden products work to increase the life and enhance the efficiency of your equipment in the toughest conditions. Learn more about Dryden's products at Dryden.com. From grassroots racing to NASCAR, Dryden is a proud supporter of racing everywhere. For a year-round high-quality eating experience, look no further than Sage Fruit apples, pears, and cherries. Not only is their produce healthy, but they are grown with such care and precision that you can count on each piece of fruit having exceptional flavor. Sage Fruit, it's our first choice for quick and easy snacking. Get back into NASCAR's roots by driving headfirst into the new home of grassroots racing. Flow Racing keeps the original NASCAR tradition of dirt track racing roaring with more than 1,300 live and on-demand oval races from across the United States. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/MRN. Learn how the next generation of NASCAR drivers is prospected in sprint car racing or watch the thrill of last lap slide jobs. Subscribe today by going to flowracing.com/GoMRN. Busy time in the sprint car world. In fact, I was looking at TJ Slideway's calendar, and I honestly believe that every tour, sanction, series, and track is racing this weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I really, it's unreal. Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, they've been running oh my gosh, I'm tired just following them.
Yeah.
81 Speedway in Park City, Kansas, new Tulsa Speedway in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Friday night, and Outlaw Motor Speedway in Otama, Oklahoma on Saturday. World of Outlaw, Noss Energy Drink Sprint Cars. I love this. Ransomville Friday night, Weed Sport on Saturday night.
Ransomville.
Wow. The big R.
Yeah.
How about that? And I grew up Sundays at Weed Sport, driving up there when I got to a certain age when I could drive.
I was gonna say, it's a good ride for you.
We would go, my dad and I, when I was a kid not driving, we would go to the Northeast 150, the big year ender there, and we would go once in a while. But when I was writing for Gator Racing News and on my own, I would drive almost every Sunday up to Weed Sport.
Wow.
So many great memories of Weed Sport and to see what the place has gone through.
I was just going to say, talk about a transformation of the track.
I need to get up there again, that's for sure. Flow Racing All-Star Circuit of Champions, Missouri State Fair Speedway in Sedalia tonight, 34 Raceway, Friday night, West Burlington, Iowa, and Saturday, Knoxville Raceway. You know what that means when the All-Stars roll in. We're getting closer and closer. NOSA Sprints, Friday and Saturday night in Mandan, North Dakota at Dakota Speedway. MOA Sprints, Friday night at Jacksonville, Illinois, Saturday night at the Bull Ring at Macon. IRA Bumper to Bumper, I told you, everybody's racing. IRA Bumper to Bumper Sprints, Friday, Langlade Speedway in Antigo, Wisconsin. Saturday, Plymouth Dirt Track. Where is that, Erin? Sheboygan, because we say it because we like to say it.
You got to say Sapulpa and Sheboygan in one
that's
show.
Right. That's right. Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association. Washington, West Virginia, Friday night, Skyline Speedway, and Guysville, Ohio, Saturday night. And yes, that's just the sanctioned races. Well, no, Fast has races at I-96 and Fremont. Then Attica, Lernerville, Williams Grove, Butler, Lincoln, Mercer, Port Royal, St. Francis, Wayne County, and Tri-City Speedway. Folks, there's a sprint car race near you. Go. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And that is, with the exception of Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour, that is 410 races.
Yeah.
I mean, TJ Slideway's calendar is like, there's 50 entries per page, and I think it's 2.5 pages this weekend. It's unreal. I mean, TJ. Got a chance to hang out with TJ as well.
Aww.
At Eldora. Love that guy, man.
I do too.
TJ Slideways. You got to follow that page, bookmark it. Make sure it's part of your weekly sprint car, your daily weekly sprint car reading for sure. Wing Nation gear and apparel is available on the All-Star Circuit of Champions trailer. So Sedalia, West Burlington, Iowa, and Knoxville, you can get your Wing Nation gear this weekend. It's also available at www.wingnation.com. We are going to be busy all weekend long on Twitter, on Facebook. We have our YouTube page, which has a lot of our interviews there. And coming up this weekend, Wing Nation television show presented by Sage Fruit. Sheldon Haudenschild joins us. So that is neat.
Yeah,
that is fun.
That'll be a good one.
Good stuff, that is for sure. So we appreciate Kassidy Kreitz joining us here. She's Erin Evernham. I'm Steve Post. Thanks for joining us this week on Wing Nation, presented by Dryden and by DRF Racing Oils.